What kind of father refuses to say goodbye to his dying son? The internet is reeling from the shocking fallout surrounding R&B legend Brian McKnight, a man once known for his silky voice and soulful ballads.
Unbelievable how I used to say.
But now, he's at the center of a heartbreaking controversy, one that has left fans furious and speechless. His son, Nico McKnight, passed away after a painful 2-year battle with cancer. And Brian, he never showed up. Not a visit, not a phone call, nothing. But this tragedy wasn't a one-time mistake. It was the latest and most devastating chapter in a story that's been unfolding behind closed doors for years. A story about a father who seemingly erased his own children from existence. And if you thought Brian McKnight was the family man his music made him out to be, think again. Before everything spiraled, Brian McKnight was a household name in R&B. Born in 1969, he's a Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter, a multi-instrumentalist, best known for love songs like Back at One, Anytime, and One Last Cry. Nico McKnight was just 22 years old when his fight ended. For 2 years, he battled cancer, painfully, quietly, and with the kind of strength most adults would struggle to find. But as his body gave out, something else hurt even more than the illness. The absence of his father. Brian McKnight never showed up. Not once. Not a phone call. Not a visit. Not a moment of comfort during his son's darkest hours. And this wasn't speculation. It was confirmed by the family and later echoed by Nico himself. The world didn't find out about Nico's death. All through a tribute from his famous father. No.
He's been bravely battling cancer for the last 2 years or so, and I have a lot of feelings right now. I'm not going off a script or anything like that. I'm just gonna be raw with how I'm feeling. Nico was one of those amazing kids who was quirky and curious and ridiculously talented. Amazing singer, an amazing guitar player, had a great eye, was a photographer. And just one of those kids that, at least in my estimation, was somebody you always wanted to be around. And so it really sucks that he's no longer with us. And I will also say, probably one of the reasons why I wasn't going to post about it is I post a lot of things, but I don't post a lot of really, really serious subject things, or certainly family things. And I wanted to post this about Nico, about his legacy, about how amazing he is, and not about what some of you may have heard about, the family drama that has existed for quite some time in our family. I'm not here to discuss that or to talk about how that happened or why it happened. This is not the time or the place, but what I will say is, in any situation, there's always at least 3 sides to a story. There's my side, your side, and the truth. And the truth a lot of times is somewhere in between. So here's the thing. I don't know exactly what was going on there. I know what I've seen. I know what I've heard from all parties involved. And I try not to judge. I just try to be as loving to each person as I can be, because apparently there's so much hurt going on, or was so much hurt going on, that a lot of things didn't get resolved. And again, I want to go back to Nico. I know that kid had a lot inside, a lot eating at him for a long, long, long time. That may have contributed to what happened with him. What I do know is he's out of pain now. And so I can rejoice in the fact that he no longer has to go through the chemo and the radiation and everything else. So I just want to uplift that young man and say we will see him again one day. I love you, Nico.
Fans learned the truth when Nico's uncle, Claude McKnight, shared the devastating news on social media. A flood of shock, confusion, and heartbreak followed. People weren't just mourning Nico. They were demanding to know how a father, especially one who made a career writing love songs, could vanish when his own child needed him most. The rift between Brian McKnight and his children didn't happen overnight. It was years in the making. And when it finally surfaced in public, it didn't come with apologies or explanations. It came with denial and distance. Brian McKnight, once admired as a devoted father, made it crystal clear he no longer considered his older children part of his life. In his own words, he claimed they were entitled, ungrateful, and financially dependent. Grown adults, he said, who needed to fend for themselves. He cut ties with his sons. He cut ties with his daughters. He cut ties with nearly everyone from his first family. At the time, fans tried to rationalize it. Maybe there was more to the story. Maybe he was just setting boundaries. But then came the accusations and everything. All changed. Brian didn't just distance himself. He started rewriting his narrative publicly and deliberately. He claimed the mothers of his children had poisoned them against him. He said his daughter Brianna's mom blocked contact. And then without warning, he dropped a bombshell that no one expected. He accused one of his daughters of having an inappropriate relationship with a relative. A cousin, no proof, no court case. Just a public statement that shattered what was left of their already fragile relationship. Brianna sued him for defamation and breach of contract in 2020. The result? Brian paid $318,000 to settle without admitting any wrongdoing, no apology, no retraction, and he didn't take down the statement from the internet. To him, it was all just business. Instead of trying to heal old wounds, Brian McKnight did something many fans still can't wrap their heads around. He erased his biological children and started replacing them in real time right in front of the world. It began with subtle posts about his new family, his wife Leilani's children. Then came the hashtags, Real Brian McKnight GWR, You Fell, Perfect Daughter, Always Wanted. He referred to his stepdaughter Julia as his own. He called his stepson Jack the true Brian Jr. He even had a new biological child with Leilani and gave that child the same name as his estranged oldest son. Let that sink in. He named his new son Brian McKnight Jr., the exact same name as the son he rejected. Then, in a now infamous social media post, Brian said, "The children that I do not currently have relationships with, I don't post about them. I post about the ones I'm proud of." He went on to say that in order to live a life you love, you have to get rid of evil, even if it's related to you. To him, his biological children weren't just distant, they were evil. With each post, each denial, each praise for his stepchildren, it became clear Brian wasn't just moving on. He was rewriting his legacy and trying to erase the people who helped build it. As cancer drained Nico's body, the emotional pain seemed to hit even harder. From his hospital bed, knowing the end was near, Nico opened up on Twitter, revealing his raw, unfiltered heartbreak over his father. He wrote, "When I was about to die in the hospital from complications from my cancer, I just wanted to bury the hatchet and hear him say he loves me. And he told me he couldn't arbitrarily say, 'He loves me.' That line alone shattered hearts across the internet. A dying son begging for the most basic human comfort from his father and being denied. But Nico didn't stop there. In another post, he said, 'Sometimes I wonder if my dad's karma is my close proximity to death. Maybe if I die, it'll release him from this grip of evil.' And the most heartbreaking part, even after all the pain, the public rejection, and the silence, Nico still loved him. I still love him so much because I know there's my dad in there somewhere. But he's a drone now. So Efkin Sad, miss you, Dad." He defended his sisters too. He admitted they weren't perfect kids, but insisted they deserved respect, not this. He said, "We saved that man from federal prison. That's all I'm going to say." His words were filled with pain, yes, but also hope, a final wish for a group hug, for a moment of peace before it was too late. But that moment never came. After everything, Nico's passing, the public outcry, the emotional damage, Brian's response wasn't compassion, it wasn't reflection, it was cold, legal finality. "I changed my will the next day," he said. "I make absolutely no apologies for naming my infant son Brian. He is my true legacy." With that single act, Brian officially cut his older children out of his legacy. Financially, emotionally, and symbolically. He didn't just walk away. He legally removed them from his future. The man who once sang about heartbreak, reconciliation, and forgiveness had now rejected all three. And yet the internet didn't cancel him overnight. There was no mainstream reckoning. Instead, a quiet realization set in. Brian McKnight had become the very opposite of the love he used to sing about. And that brings us to the final, most painful truth. Nico is gone. His final wish to hear "I love you" from his father was never granted. His sister's still left without an apology. His mother still grieving alone, and Brian still posting about his perfect family, still pretending the past never happened. But karma doesn't follow timelines. It doesn't need receipts. It waits. And while Brian builds a new legacy, the foundation is cracked. Because no matter how many followers he has or how many new children he praises, the internet never forgets. More importantly, neither will the ones he left behind. Sometimes the love we refuse to give becomes the pain we eventually carry. And one day, when the applause fades and the lights go out, Brian McKnight may be left with nothing but silence. The same silence he gave Nico. That's it, folks. Hit the like button and subscribe for more. Until next time, bye.